Stampers, it's Kim Vogel with the Basement Bunch Stampers, and I'm here for another terrific Tuesday video. Today I want to share with you a cute card that I made using the embossing paste. And if you haven't used this yet, I really encourage you to give it a try and experiment with it. But the embossing paste is found on page 201 in our annual catalog. I'm going to bring that in here for you. And it is showcased right here in the middle. And coordinating products that go with that include the palette knives and the pattern party decorative masks. And I'm going to show you those products here in just a moment and tell you a little bit more about them. So the embossing paste is, to me, it reminds me of frosting. It comes in a little tub, and let me open this up. It looks like frosting. And the neat thing is you can color this with different colors of our ink refills, which is what I have done. I used one of our empty containers of embellishments, put a little bit of white in there, added some Tranquil Tide re-inker to that, and created another fun color that I'm going to use on this card today. Other products that coordinate with this, I should mention this embossing paste is $8. The palette knives that coordinate with it are $5, and I'm going to actually use a couple of different ones of these today. And the pattern party decorative masks are $6. Now, I did not use these on my project today, but I want to show you them because you get a lot of different variety. But you get one that looks like brick, and you can just put that down onto your project and rub the embossing paste on it, and you'll have the brick pattern. Another one is like a medallion pattern that looks like that. And there's also one for doing clouds, which that would be really pretty on like a night of navy cardstock. And then the other one looks like little diamonds, little diamond patterns. Again, I did not use these on my card. Instead, I used a Thinlit from the holiday catalog, and I used a Thinlit from the Card Builder, Card Front Builder Framelits, and it is this one right here. And what I did is I chose to use that framelit, and I cut it out because it looks like a starry night. I'm not sure if you can see it very good, but you will be able to when I bring in my template here. So I went ahead and I used that framelit to cut this out, and I'm going to use this as my mask, and that is what I used up here on the very top of my card. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and get started, and I'm going to bring in a piece of grid paper so that I don't make a mess. So here is my grid paper. And so with that, I am going to bring in my 2 pieces of cardstock. Now I went ahead and I'm going to glue these together first, because once you start using this embossing paste, it does take a little bit of time to dry, and I want to be able to have these 2 together. So I'm going to go ahead and adhere these together. And the measurements for these, I believe the Tranquil Tide, which is the green, is 5 by 3 3/4. And then the Smoky Slate is 4 3/4 by 3 1/2. I will verify those for sure, and I'll have the measurements included in my video. And there's also going to be a blog post for this in the description of this video that will take you back to my website. I encourage you to check it out at kimsbasementbunch.com. So with that, we're going to go ahead and do our stamping first. And I used a stamp from the Ready for Christmas stamp set from our holiday catalog, and I used the Sharing the Joy stamp, and I stamped that, first because it kind of gave me my placement for where I was going to put everything else. So I'm going to stamp that right about here, and then from there I added this cute little mask above there, and I'm going to use the embossing paste in the container. So here's the white. Let me move this all over so I make sure I get that in my video. And I'm going to use the palette that looks like this. I feel it's going to give me a little bit more control to get into those areas that I need. And I'm going to put a little bit of embossing paste on here. And I'm just going to hold this on here. And I am going to gently cover all of these little spots with embossing paste. So it's kind of like it reminds me of frosting, actually. And then, you know, just filling it all in. So this is where you can get creative with using other things to make your masks, other than the ones that Stampin' Up! Provides with the collection that I showed you previously. So make sure I get all this covered good. And you can use the same mask for a couple of them, but you may have to make additional ones if you're making this card in any kind of large quantity. I'm going to carefully pick that up And look at that. Isn't that just cute? And then what I did for the snow on the bottom of my card down here is I used the one that actually looks like a butter knife to me, or like a spreader. And I used that, and I actually spreaded this on here as if it was like snow, but like it was frosting, like you're kind of frosting a cake. I just kind of spread this on here. Let me get a little bit more on my knife. So here's where you can go as thick as you want or as thin as you want. Doesn't really matter. And if you're like, okay, I can't get down there very good, I'm going to go back to using the other one that I was using and get down here on the bottom. Got a little too much of that embossing paste on my palette. But you can see how you can just kind of experiment with this and make it your own. Okay, so that's going to be my snow. Now this is going to take a little bit of time to dry, so this is something you're going to want to make and set aside for a little while. And then what I did is I'm going to bring in my sample again. I'm going to pull this up here so it's out of the way so it can start to dry. Excuse me there. But on my sample, you can see my trees look a little bit different than the white embossing paste. And my trees is where I used the colored embossing paste that I made, the Tranquil Tide color. So what I did, I'm going to bring in my catalog, is using the framelits again, these trees right here, is I went ahead and I added some of the embossing paste to these trees. Let me bring them in here, that I colored using the Tranquil Tide with the re-inker. So here's where you can add a little or a lot depending on how much you want added, or the color, if you want a light Tranquil Tide or a dark Tranquil Tide. Excuse me, I got a little bit of a cold. I went with kind of a neutral color, and all you're going to do is rub this on here like this. And then I simply sprinkled it with some glitter. You can add as much of this as you want to these trees, or as little. It doesn't matter. Your personal preference is, use your best judgment. And so from there, I'm going to go ahead and bring in the Dazzling Diamond glitter. And this glitter is phenomenal. If you have not used the Stampin' Up! Dazzling Diamond glitter, it's a must-have. The sparkle to this glitter is just phenomenal. So I just dumped a little bit of glitter on that. And it kind of makes the trees look a little bit more, their color versus just the white snow on them. Look how pretty that is. Now that is going to take some time to dry. So, I would suggest you do this in advance. And then what I did, I'm going to bring my sample back in, is after that dried, I simply adhered the trees with dimensionals. And then I added a little rain, or a little deer. I used the deer from the same card front builder framelits. You can see the little deer right here. And so just cut him out, and I used a mini dimensional to put him on the card as well. But look how cute that card is. And all I did was use a little bit of that embossing paste, and it's a nice wow card. Whoever you give this to is going to absolutely love it. So thank you for stopping today. I encourage you to check out my website at kimsbasementbunch.com for additional information regarding my classes that I offer online, different ones that I'm offering the month of November. And I would encourage you to subscribe to my YouTube channel as well. Thanks for stopping today, and have a great day. Bye.